here's the thing. Here at CTN, we're trying our best to cover anything Soroban. And if you're new to the whole concept of Stellar and Soroban, you're thinking, well, what's the heck's the big deal about it? I'm brand new. What's this Soroban thing? You got to understand this is the premier key smart contract of smart contracts on the Stellar network. We're going to have 70 projects flip this switch, basically onboarded to the system. And the key thing is all we need, like I mentioned, is to have something like a singularity net or something like that out of that bunch. And I think that's going to happen. Let's get into why I feel as though there's some bullish indicators on why that could happen. I've gone ahead and fast forward to this key area of this interview. So if anything, let's bring it to you guys. And just trying to load this up. Here it go. Here it is. You should be familiar with this particular lady if you've seen the interview with her before introducing Soroban. But here it is. And I want to give you a little brief introduction to why we're paying attention to this tonight. So this was a while back, but the key thing is they recently put this out, right? Whether you're a seasoned developer or just starting out, this workshop will give you the skills and knowledge you need to develop your own smart contracts on Soroban. Now, what I love here is the passion that this guy named Morgan on the right side of the screen talks about. You know, we all have hopes and dreams. Maybe you're not the type of guy you have any more hopes and dreams. You're just the type of guy in which you're like, bro, I never had any hopes and dreams. I'm just a guy that, you know, works hard, whatever the case be. I think for the most part, some of us have some kind of hopes and dreams from the time that we were a kid and so on. I love what he shares here. And if anything, listen to what he mentions at this part, because you will have a new realization of what Soroban is trying to accomplish. It speaks for itself. Smash that like, especially after you hear this. Here we go.
Yeah. By the way, very nice shout out in the chat here. Free access to viewers if you tweet at me on Twitter. Yes. All right. So my Soroban story. So my developer story, going back real far, I started as a kid with a fascination with computers. And I remember I was 14 when I wrote my first line of code. And for me, that was, you know, that experience informed what I was going to do from that point onward. Mm-hmm. And I've made a career out of it, and almost 20 years of frustration followed with the joy of seeing something that you've built come to life. So that's, I guess, any developer's journey there. And the reason I'm sharing the frustration with the joy part is because I feel this industry, and I'm talking specifically about the blockchain industry, has not focused enough on the joy of building, while providing ample frustration. And you can probably see that in your own experiences a lot. So over the last 2 years, I've tried playing around with a few smart contract platforms, spending considerable amount of time with 2 of them. And in the end, I felt a little bit like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz in a conversation with Scarecrow and Tin Man, trying to find out why one had no brain and the other one had no heart. And in my frustration, I continued looking for a platform that had both a heart and a brain. And just last November, I found Soroban. The first Sorobanathon was taking place, and Anuja was hosting that, and it was a beautiful experience. On GitHub, you log in, and you know, everybody's sort of submitting their own ideas and thoughts, and experiencing the joy of development.
Technology, and right.
Yeah. So I took part in that. I jumped right on it, and I found out about Soroban in the process. I found out about XDR, which is the data format for storing things on Stellar that Soroban uses. And then I started getting into Rust, and it's a long journey, and doing so without prior experience, mind you. And then lastly was WebAssembly, one of the key building blocks of Soroban. And my first projects were very simple, mostly to deal with optimizations of the development workflow, one workflow or another. And I made some submissions along those lines. I think it was 5 in total
Yeah,
that were
a lot of them, actually. You were one of our superstar submitters to Soroban, if I recall.
Yeah. And it was a blast. And the community on Discord was great. And the community on GitHub was great. People were commenting and so forth. So that was a really soft and nice introduction to Soroban.
Mhm.
And my final project as part of Sorobanathon, I think I submitted it last day, was a browser tool for interacting with the Soroban RPC server. Something that a lot of folks do when interacting with any kind of blockchain. You don't go directly to a node you're running, you go to an RPC server. For y'all, remote procedure call server, I remember the HTTPS from Bloomberg. Got to spell it out. So the RPC server thing, I wanted to build a great developer experience for anyone building and testing their contracts, because deploying the contract, invoking the contract is often tricky if you want to do it with arguments and stuff, and especially if you're sort of coming in from a command line. And in doing that, I spent countless hours working on various parts of the stack, from the WASM executable to the host environment. And then it hit me. I realized something. I had everything I needed to build a self-contained browser environment for executing and testing Soroban contracts. And that just sort of blew my mind. Like I had everything I needed to build the perfect playground experience.
All right. The point is what he mentioned, his dream from the time he was a kid, and building this, going to this platform of Soroban and having that perfect experience, the ease of use. That's just one dev. Multiply that towards, hundreds, maybe thousands of devs worldwide. The whole key concept of having a thriving ecosystem is making it have ease of use. When we talk about, for instance, on the Hedera segment, having a platform where, it's user friendly. I think that was actually the Jasmine part I was talking about. My bad. But it don't matter what platform it is, right? If you don't have a platform in which the apps are user friendly, let's face it, who the heck is going to use the technology? You could rant and rave about technology all day long, but if people see through that and they're like, I don't know what this guy's talking about, but this thing there's a learning curve here, right? What is the key thing that we always highlight, right? Quants over ledger, right? Being able to go on that platform, 3 lines of code. Well, what about Stellar, right? So with Stellar, that was a great example of what he's talking about. Being able to quickly go on there, do what you need to do, and build, right? The word will get around to other devs. I'm telling you flat out. And this whole concept that now they have 70 projects they're going to be onboarded instantaneously, basically speaking, after this testnet is over, right? Going to an actual full-fledged mainnet. That is going to be unbelievable. I think, if anything, when we talk about price shock, I know we put so much emphasis on the whole concept of cross-border payments on it, and don't get me wrong, that's huge, right? But if you've been following Stellar, one of the key things is, Stellar versus Ripple is smart contracts, right? So, I mean, it's like, I don't understand why there's not much more talk about this concept. Soroban is the key underlying factor towards this big deal of just that, smart contracts. So, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what about former Ethereum devs who are just simply fed up with that whole old system of, hey, I'm becoming broke on your outdated platform. What are you guys doing with this? Oh, well, we have these layer 2 solutions, blah, blah, blah. Okay. How's that working out? You know what I mean? And then you see this example here. It's like, yeah, you know what? This is going to be bigger than most people think. Okay. Now check this out. Here's the next part of it. But what I want to show you guys, again, is just a tad bit more in regards to this. So a while back, check this out for yourself. Ultra Stellar Soroban integration. Okay, what is this all about? Well, this thing was part of this community fund, if you will. It got a budget request of $144,000. And the reason why I want to point this out, bring it to your attention, you guys are familiar with some of these key things, are you not? You know, some of you guys talk about, for instance, lobster. But for instance, Ultra Stellar seeks to enrich lobster and Stellar X by integrating what? Soroban smart contracts, enhancing user interaction and utility. So again, this is a great part of the outline why I want to bring it to your attention. Now, this, of course, has a little bit of a video here. I'm going to play this. But check this out, and we're going to show you a little bit more in regards to this whole thing with Soroban. I'm telling you flat out, we're going to give you as much news as we possibly can, as much as we can, about Soroban. I don't, again, understand why there is not more coverage about Soroban. Rich of Common Sense Crypto, he does talk about once in a while and so on. That's great. I should say once in a while. He's been doing a pretty good job with that. There's some other content creators, but man, we need more coverage about Soroban. It's really, really, truly a big deal. Here we go. Let's go ahead and play this. All right, this next part is a little bit more of obviously the topic of what we have, and there's more to it than just Soroban that we're going to share with you. Let's get this ready for you and jump over to it. And basically, it's called EURC Soroban, or Eurc Soroban. Now, there was some big news that was dropped earlier today from the Stellar Foundation in regards to all this, literally today. So if you're thinking you're just showing, some of the older stuff that people weren't aware about with Soroban, well, I bring a little bit of what you weren't aware of, and also bring you some of the newer, up-to-date news. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm gonna come back into the frame on this one. Yes, EURC Soroban. What is this about? Why should you pay attention to it? And if anything, what's the significance? So EURC Soroban offers a collateral-backed EUR stablecoin with ramps. Remember, we always talking about, the on-ramps that we have with Stellar. Well, on top of that, there's pools and swaps to projects building on Soroban and new to Stellar. They actually were awarded, in regards to the community fund, $119,900. There's this little video about this, and it's a demo in regards to Eurc Soroban. Smash that like. I'm telling you flat out, check this out, and we'll jump into, again, what was referenced from the official Stellar Twitter here in a bit.
Introducing Makobo. It's a Euro anchor on Stellar and the issuer of the EURC token with support for SEP 1, SEP 6, SEP 10, SEP 12, SEP 24, and SEP 31. The tokens curated in the app are Eurc, XLM, USDC, and Aqua. The curated liquidity pools are XLM EURC, USC USDC, and finally, but definitely not least, Aqua and EURC. So let's take a look at the big problem that we're solving. The big problem, as you probably know, cross-border payments cost too much and take too long. Our solution? Well, building on Stellar allows us to create a cheaper and faster solution using EURC stablecoin built on the Stellar blockchain, pegged 1-to-1 with fiat. Our project will wrap the curated tokens currently available in the Makobo app and integrate these tokens into the Soroban version of the Makobo app with support for KYC on and off ramps, swaps, and liquidity pools. The Eurc Soroban project will implement the following: open source project code to serve as a template to spur the wider Stellar ecosystem, as well as those new to Stellar to work on Soroban by lowering the barrier to entry. So let's take a look at the product. Once you create your KYC and you sign in, you'll be able to implement the functionality within the Makobo banking gateway to provide that custodial account balance experience. And here you see the dashboard. We'll implement the USC Soroban wrapped USDC, wrapped XLM, USC Soroban and wrapped Aqua, USC Soroban liquidity pools, and we'll also implement in-app support for ramps, pools, and swaps. Next, creation of IBAN for qualified users after execution of KYC, being able to buy and sell EURC. And here we have the opportunity to buy EURC within the application. And as you can see, as you step through the process, we'll implement the banking rail to support deposits. Not only that, implementation of the banking rails will also be able to support withdrawals. Implementation for swaps for accounts that don't have bank accounts will also be available for curated tokens. And as you can see, EURC listings are already in place, and the combination of fiat-backed tokens like EURC Soroban and more developers building decentralized apps with utility will lead to an influx of Euro liquidity from other blockchains to Stellar, overall via the EURC Soroban token. Thank you for your time.
An influx of other blockchains to Stellar, an influx. So again, remember we're talking about price shock earlier, supply shock, price shock, shock all around the board, all across the board. I don't know about you, but every time I see something about Soroban, I want to pay more attention to that. Thriving ecosystems are the proponent, in my opinion, to helping get the job done. As the saying goes, there is something about power in numbers, right? If you have, like the analogy earlier before, one person working towards the goal of just one project on his own might do well, but it ain't going to do as well as if you have, a whole network or a bunch of other people bringing their talents, if you will, to create a thriving ecosystem. You better believe Stellar is going to be one of the most thriving ecosystems of ecosystems. All right. There's obviously a little bit more of what we have in regards to Soroban, and this time around, or I should say Soroban, Stellar this time around. I want to share this with you guys. This was at 8:09 a.m. straight from officially like the main Twitter of Stellar org. And I'm gonna come back into the frame on this one as well. Please smash the like. And as you can see right here, today we are excited to share the open source release of the Stellar disbursement platform. There's obviously a little bit more in regards to this. And I'm going to put up some banners just for a second because they were off of there. But my key thing is, I always like to bring some of this key information to you guys, especially if it's new. I don't get to do it every day. But yeah, let's jump a little bit more into this. And here it is. So from paying gig workers, because remember earlier in the outline, not for Stellar, but for the Hedera segment, we're talking about, those independent artists and so on. Shout out to Michael Montclair. But yes, paying gig workers anywhere in the world to delivering digital aid anyone can power global payments using digital assets with this publicly available bulk disbursement tool. 12 hours ago, again, reported. Over the last year, Stellar.org has been heads down, I should say, building this platform to make faster, cheaper, and transparent digital disbursements available to anyone. This is why I can consistently state that sometime in the future, if I had to pick one cryptocurrency that's going to be the one that's identified by the world as, the one, if you will, when it comes to paying for groceries or, paying bills, you name it, it's Stellar. Last December, the Stellar disbursement platform was first used to power digital aid disbursements in Ukraine. On top of that, there is this. Now, this turnkey payment solution is open source, available to anyone to use and build upon. Again, isn't that the whole point? We gave that example earlier about that one dev, how easy he was able to build on Stellar. Word of mouth travels. And if anything, devs talk to who? Other devs. And they especially talk to some devs that are on some of those other platforms. You better believe it, like the Ethereum ones and so on. Hey, jump ship. Get with the picture. Join the one in which is innovative, fast, easy to build on, and efficient. All right, a little bit more in regards to this. Access to Stellar disbursement platform. This part is good. And shout out to Sammy. I don't know if he ever watches this live, but Sammy, if you happen to watch this on the chopped up version, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, especially with your key findings. It says access to Stellar disbursement platform anywhere in the world to do what? Quickly send funds to thousands of recipients in what? Seconds. Monitor funds delivery in real time. Number 3, power suppliers, payments, payroll, contractor payments, and more. How many times have you guys heard me say boil it, mash it, stick it in the stew? Yeah, this applies to everything and anything and everything. All right. Check this out in regards to this dashboard. This blows up a little bit more for you guys. This is really, really big because you know what? A lot of times you guys pay attention to the the payment side of things. You actually want to see what happened on actual transactions and stuff like that. So let me show you guys this on this particular dashboard and check out this disbursement volume. Just double check I'm not muted because that would be bad. So you see this was up about 8.37%. Successful payment rate, 96.59%. That's a pretty nice ratio, right? And let's see here. Failed payments was only 312 out of that amount. Remaining payments is 12. But again, think about this. Remember we talked about Soroban and we talked about Soroban, right? But look at this. Total disbursed, 428,000 of EURC, 300,000 on USDC. Gives all these amounts, easy to track, right? Look at these recent disbursements. Sorry. Look at some of those dates created, total amounts, the dispersed amounts. Hopefully you guys see it. Let me double check the other screen. Yeah, you guys see this. So, I mean, it's all there. That's the whole point. I mean, the transparency and ease of use to be able to, verify some of these key things. All right. Obviously, there's a little bit more to it than just this. Let me share this again with you. All right, here we go. Let's jump back to this tab. The other part about this, all right. You can also tap into Stellar's extensive network of global on and off ramps. We're always talking about the on and off ramps about, when it comes to Stellar, especially when it comes to MoneyGram, right? In over 180 plus countries where recipients can convert their digital currency into cash. The whole concept of being able to do that is crucial. So it says an open source global payment solution. That's why, again, I will always state that I think that, Stellar is the one when it comes to this payment platform and so on. I'm going to show you guys this real quick from obviously Stellar, their products. This is like one of their showcases in regards to products and tools and the disbursements about it. And this was all recently updated. Shows some old screenshots, but I mean, this was new as far as actually on their site. Some of the examples I showed you earlier in regards to the recent disbursements. They also got this whole thing of the turnkey disbursements platform, initiate and disperse bulk payments like we mentioned earlier, real time, and of course settle instantly 24/7, 365 days a year, full certainty of funds that will deliver, streamline end user crypto onboarding with seamless wallet creation, and tap into Stellar's network of global off ramps. How about this? All sizes, right? Micropayments, humanitarian aid, you have global payroll, and one of my favorite things, right? Does it scale? Yeah, it scales in seconds, absolutely in seconds. Turnkey access and intuitive interface, and API that fully integrates into your product suite. Transparency, instantly send funds across borders with real-time visibility throughout the flow of funds. Global access. Remember talking about the whole thing of what kind of access you have and what kind of off-ramps you have. Convert crypto to fiat at over 300,000 off-ramp points across the globe. And of course, we shared some of those examples in regards to how there's more MoneyGram locations now apparently than compared to, like, I guess BTC. That's big. That's absolutely huge. You got to create those access points, expand your payments and operations. Talks about, wallet creation, and I like this part. Recipients can easily access funds with on-demand wallet creation via an SMS invitation. The whole point is, like, maybe some people don't understand all the concepts of this, but they can understand how to send a basic text message. I mean, come on, what kid doesn't know how to text? Get one basic invitation and then easily access funds. I mean, when we talk about ease of adoption, boom, there you go. Bulk payments, send payments to thousands of recipients in a single disbursement, not multiple disbursements. Not, I got to send one chunk at a time. You don't want to go with this. I got to stay up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday night because the Ethereum gas fees are a lot cheaper at that time. So I'm going to send in smaller chunks. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No, Stellar realizes that. A lot more faster, more efficient, and in a single disbursement. There's no chunks that are needed here. Analytics, track key metrics over time directly from the SDB dashboard. Again, making things really easy. That's the whole point. Account controls choose from 4 levers of user permissions to ensure privacy and just that control. Gives you a whole thing of how it works. We're not going to get into that, but it breaks it all down from here. Monitor the delivery of the funds in real time with your wallet. Here's some examples right here. You can review the analytics. Again, the whole point is being able to see the transparency and how easy this functions. Set up account controls. Did you know that you could set up a thing in which new users can review permissions to comply with privacy and financial management controls? Of course, again, like it says, you can learn more.